put a real effort into trying to do something in the Challenge Cup.
Yeah, no, everyone wants a good cup run, a good Challenge Cup run as well. Against Castleford away, we probably didn't perform to our best that day, and all the boys know that as well, and we know we're missing an opportunity there as well. Because you want to win every game you go in. We don't go into any game where we just think that, oh, it's good to get close to these teams, Wigan and people like that. We want to beat every team that we play, and that's a philosophy we've had all the way through last season as well. And to be fair, we was going pretty well at that. And then certain games we let ourselves down in them, and it's about a consistency thing with performances and the little things that we do in habits as well. But that's up to us to fix up. The boys are more aware of where they fell down last year and make sure that this year we fix them up.
Questions? Yeah, one over there, Bruce.
Ian, I just want to raise something about communication.
Two Ians, is it Ian B or Ian W? Ian B.
You just mentioned there a couple of times while you were speaking about talking to me on Twitter, or you've seen it on social media. But that's excluding anybody that doesn't use those things, including yourself, or Luddite. So I think the communication from the club really needs to be improved. You know, there's a chance to get most people are on emails on description, or they've got somebody in the family that's on email, but we don't seem to circulate those people. It's been 2 years now since I've had an email from the club, and probably 20 years since I've had a letter. And you know, some of those sort of tried and trusted old-fashioned methods. I think if we're trying to spread the word, we need to start understanding that not everybody's on Twitter. I mean, how did people know about tonight? I don't know. It's not on the website. It's just done through Twitter, and I just think that we're missing a real trick. We should be doing everything we possibly can to get as many email addresses when we go out to the schools, when we go, you know, we have the events on. When anybody comes to this stadium, we should be recording their email address and putting it on a database and sending weekly messages out to everybody about what's going on.
I can't argue with that. I think it was on the website, I have to say, though. Officially tonight's game. However, and I've come from a business background where data was key. I have honestly not seen that much data that I can put my hands on at the moment. So, as you noticed tonight, I think we were getting data as you walked in. We're collecting data now properly from the stadium company. We have sent in the last week around 300, 400 letters and emails out to people, mainly aimed at season ticket renewal, to ask them, are they coming, are they buying? If not, why not? So I think we are aware that there's other forms of communication that we need to do, and it's one of our tasks. Microphone keeps. It's one of our tasks from the back office that we need to get right. We only get that right by capturing the data. You're quite right. So it's one of our key objectives is to capture data to make sure when people come to the stadium. And when I work with Mark Brocklehurst, for example, with the foundation, our target for the Wigan game is around. We're going to try and get 200 or so children, in excess of that for the parents. But we're going to make sure that we capture the data when they come for the tickets. We spoke about this already. And when the next game comes, which we've not done as a club, we've not followed that up, and asked them, did you enjoy it? Are you going to come back? And again, move the process of communication on. So it's one thing, definitely, you're right, we are working on as well. And we've got advertising to look at as well in our gateways, in our shopping centres. And again, it's one of the many tasks that we're looking at doing.
Okay, that's great.
One over there, Luke, obviously. We have got some questions from the forms that people filled in who might not want to answer or ask a question out loud, so I'll pull up a couple of them questions off and give them to the end of the top table to put them on the spot.
Hi, first of all, congratulations. It's great to see you here.
Oh, right, sorry. Hi. Sorry, good.
I noticed you've got 10,000 jobs, and if you look at most of the Super League clubs, one of the big prime posts there is a director of marketing. Have you any plans to get a director of marketing? Because, you know, I mean, you look at Hull won the social media prize, Leeds won the director of marketing, won the season ticket prize, Wigan won the sponsorship one. You can't do it all. So that's a question to you. The other one is a question to the other end, really. about scouting and attracting players. I mean, lost Tim, which was obviously easily anything in Australia. We used to have a massive scouting network about, I don't know, when you were around, you know about it. And, you know, we seem to supply half the half-backs in the Super League now. I've been through this club. I just wondered how you retain players and how you're going to attract players once you start to two questions.
Yeah, I'll pick up the first one. I'll leave Coach Watson to deal with the second one. We've bizarrely been talking about the second one today. On the market and media side, you know, everything we do as a club now has got to fit within the budget. We can't just recruit willy-nilly. We want to be able to stand on our own 2 feet, which we forecasted we probably can do if we attract more people. As we grow, then the team will grow. You know, at the moment, the likes of the clubs you mentioned have a lot more fans coming through the door, so obviously can do a bit more back office wise. But we are aware of that. We've involved a company. When you see the video in a minute, they're involved with us, now called Web Revolve. So we brought a marketing company in to sit and advise. They're the experts, and we're going to use our existing team, Paul and Lewis, to substantiate that. And Louise, who's joined us, as you're probably all aware of. She was in here a minute ago. She's over there. She's sat there on the desk, beavering away with the data. So we are aware of the marketing other clubs do. I'm not saying we're trying to copy it, but we looked and we have a comms meeting every week now, and one of the first things I did was I got my little iPad out and I showed them something that was going on another website, and we had a look at Parramatta in Australia's website. Coach Watson tipped me off about that. And we have got a new website. I haven't touched on that. There's a couple more points that I was going to say for the end. We have got a new website coming out on the 5th of December. We're just doing that in the back office now, tweaking that as well. So, yeah, it's an area of improvement, absolutely. There's all different avenues, media and marketing that we need to look at. So, will I strengthen it with the director of marketing? Probably not. Will I tap into people who I know and get advice? Yeah, probably I will do that as well. So there'll be a mixture as we go through the season of it all. Is that actually your question?
Yeah, just while you're at it, there is a major resource here. It's the largest connotation of higher education in Europe. Manchester Business School, so, you know, there's students there looking for projects.
I've met with Salford University last week. We didn't stumble across each other. We met. I was going down to talk physio with them, and it led on one thing to another. And we're going to have some business meetings before Christmas. Their business school, their marketing school want to get involved. We've got Salford Council, who we met last Friday. Me and Marwan met Salford Council and Peel. I'm meeting the Peel guys again Wednesday, along with the representative from the council again on Thursday. So there's lots of stuff going on behind the scenes, and it all leads to the advertising and the promotion that we want to get out there at the club. We're in negotiations for certain things that might happen around the city. Too early to tell yet, but we're certainly pushing that. And there are experts out there in their big companies who will be able to use. Absolutely, yeah.
Ian, the significance of our meetings with Bill is that they're going to make their marketing department available for us. So although we're not marketing ourselves directly, they will be doing that on our behalf. They will make the Lowry Centre as well as the Trafford Centre available for us at certain times during, between now and the start of the season, where we'll have access to the big screens, the food court in the Trafford Centre that we will be using on a number of occasions. So, and they will be writing to their clients, and they have thousands of businesses available, although they can't give us the data ourselves, but they can write to their clients on our behalf. Also the council, they will use their database to market the club, and they will be distributing, we talked about the 2 housing.
Yes, I've asked Rob Pickering, who works at the stadium, how we can re-engage with the local housing companies within the city. Some of you will be familiar with the City Housing, West Trust, Salix Homes, and I think there's a new one in the middle of central Salford, around Pendleton area, Bramhall, so they're going to give us access to all that.
So although we might look thin when it comes to marketing or name our marketing people, we've got a number of partners out there, and Ian mentioned one of them, and you see the quality of their work in a minute. Web Revolve, it's a marketing company that my businesses have used for a number of years, and they've done very well. And really, they will be possibly one of the best marketing companies any Super League club have been involved with. And we've got, like I said, we've got the marketing department of Beal Holding, we've got the council marketing for us. And I'm not saying we're going to rely on them forever, but we needed that push start. But sooner than later, we'll start growing our own marketing department ourselves. And we've already, advertising a few appointments, and you will see the change within the coming months.
Thanks, Mal. Does that answer that first part? Ian Watson, on to the second part.
Okay, just on the scouting issue, like I say, myself and Ian were discussing it this afternoon, thinking of ways that we can pick players up. Obviously, we know what's happened at the moment with the academy, and we think of it more as like being a recruitment club at the moment, more than a developing one, because if you look back to the players that have left the club through Stephen Ratchford, Watkins, people like that who kind of come through the system and then they've been snatched away by the bigger clubs for kind of the glamour, if you want to be it. And then if you're a young lad coming through, everyone sees the glamour clubs at the top of the league now, the Wigan, the Warringtons and people like that. That's their kind of first choice and where they want to go. So we've been looking at different ways that we can be smart and pick a few guys who've either missed that selection, and you'll generally find a lot of them, Chris Hills, who come through your championship leagues and stuff like that. So we're having a little look through them, but the big thing we want to do is we want to see some of our guys play against blokes, and that's probably a big push into the reserves. I mean, the quicker they go back eventually to having the reserves, it's a better grounding for the players. You can see the younger guys can develop against blokes, and you can see them playing against men. Because when they come from under-19s to step up to playing against Super League players, they eventually get injured. They get hurt at some point as well. And when they all say about duty of care, then they're not bringing the kids through the right way for me. If you've got the under-19s, then you've got the reserves, you get tested against men. We had young Liam Bent last year who was only 18, and we decided in the second half of the season we were going to send him on loan to the Championship 1 so he could play against men who are going to be physical against him, so we can see how his development is. If he just plays against under-19s all the time, he's not going to develop, and when he comes to be called upon for the first team, he won't be ready. He might have a couple of games, and then after that he'll get hurt and he'll get injured. So we have to do the right thing with bringing these players through now. So if we can see some of the younger lads who are playing in the Championship at the moment, like I say, you'll pick the Alex Warnsley's up, the Chris Hill, they've all come through the Championship, and it's a real tough school to learn in, because it's a physical league. It's just not as quick as what Super League is. So if we can see them playing there and playing at that level, then they'll more than handle coming through to Super League.
What about abroad?
Right, yeah, well, there's obviously all connections. That's how you work and things like that. A lot of people, like I speak to people in Australia quite a lot who are over there, but again, you're restricted in what kind of players you can bring in, the quota. So if you bring a young lad from Australia and then he comes across and he's not better than what you've got, it's pointless you bring it in. We have good British players over here who we can use, and that's probably the key for somebody like us at Salford. He's getting a real good core of British players. The fact that Lee came available this year as well is a big plus for us, because he's British as well, so, and he adds that kind of winning mentality that we want to produce and we want to bring through in this club there. So if we go looking over for an Australian player, when we've got the likes of young Niall for potential, who can fill our centre slot easily this year. We've got Blease, who's on our coaching staff, who's probably one of the greatest centres that played for Great Britain as well. So if Niall can't learn anything off these guys, then we're struggling. So then I think we have to go and find them and bring them in, is give the young lads who we've got in our squad a chance first.
So you have the reserve team?
Oh, sorry?
Yeah, having the reserve team.
We've looked at the possibility of it, obviously because of the way we're set up and the way things have happened. Ian's a big advocate of trying to bring the reserves in. We're a little bit behind the ball game, so what we're doing is we're looking at maybe using, say, the bottom end of our first team squad and some of the younger guys who are around to try and produce a reserves, so where they'll play friendly games against like the Settlers and the Wigans, but they won't be classed as an actual reserve side this season, unfortunately. But it is something that we're looking to try and promote so we can get that development into them.
Thanks, Ian. Yeah, we're just looking at doing dual res negotiations with